Welcome back. In this new video, I'm going to be sharing a new story. And this is the story of Pope Leo election, how Pope Leo was elected. New details of a dramatic conclave battle are revealed. Are revealed in a book that was published recently, and I want to share this story with you. Conclave, the movie, provides a gripping, if fiction, behind the scenes look inside the secretive election of a new pope. But last year, real life conclave was just as dramatic, with plenty of plot twist, political battles among cardinals, and a surprise outcome. A new book lifts a lid on how, in May 2025, Pope Leo XIV was elected as the first United States-born pope in the Catholic Church's 2,000-year history. Its authors tell in a previous unheard detail how Cardinal Robert Prevost, a low-key Augustinian friar from Chicago, had quietly garnered support from fellow cardinals as the conclave got underway, but remained under the radar of a wider attention as a serious candidate. Gerard O'Connell, the Vatican correspondent for America, a Catholic magazine based in New York, and Elisabetta Piqué, a correspondent for Argentina, La Nacion newspaper, and a CNN contributor at the 2025 Conclave, describe how an Italian frontrunner faded from contention while provided a breakdown of the voting inside the Sistine Chapel. They also report how the election of Prevost caught many by surprise, including senior figures in the Vatican. For years, the prospect of an American pope had seemed impossible because of the military, economic, and cultural power of the United States, one cardinal told them. O'Connell and Piqué, a husband and wife reporting team, were longtime friends of Pope Francis, who had baptized the two children in Argentina while still a cardinal there, and later also married the couple. The book, The Election of Pope Leo XIV, The Last Surprise of Pope Francis, draws on an interview with numerous cardinals. Using those sources, the authors describe how the tense days leading up to the conclave, a battle took place inside the College of Cardinals. Should they vote for a pope to continue the legacy and the reforms of Francis, or make a course correction, as O'Connell and Piqué set out, with each contributing their own diary-style entries to the book, efforts to elect a pope who would go in a different direction to Francis were thwarted. Leo, while distinct in style from his predecessor and still somewhat inscrutable, could broadly be described as a Francis choice. Here are some of the takeaways from the new book. A conservative one, round one, but then Leo emerged. The first ballot, O'Connell reports, saw Cardinal Peter Edo, an Hungarian, gain the greatest number of votes. Edo is a distinguished church lawyer and was the Conservatives' choices, While support for him was well organized, it wasn't necessarily widespread, O'Connell says. In that opening round, more than 30 candidates got votes, but only 3 received between 20 and 30. He writes, with the other 2 contenders being Cardinals Robert Prevost and Pietro Parolin, the Holy See Secretary of State and leading Italian candidate. The next 2 ballots, however, saw support move swiftly from Prevost while others dropped away. The first American Pope was elected on the 4th ballot with 108 votes, with Parolin as a runner-up, O'Connell says. The book also reveals the 4th ballot had to be repeated as one cardinal accidentally stuck 2 ballot papers together. The same thing happened in 2013. Conclave. Solemn, secret, but also human. The conclave is a serious spiritual process in which the cardinals are cut off from the world, surrounding all electronic devices before they cast their vote in front of the awesome fresco Michelangelo's The Last Judgment. But the book suggests not everything always went to plan. Voting on the first day was delayed when security officials picked up a cell phone signal inside the Sistine Chapel. Inside, O'Connell writes, one of the older cardinals realized he had a cell phone in his pocket, which he then handed over. A reported scene O'Connell describes as unimaginable even for a film. Then another problem emerged, the book says. With no phones to use as alarms, some cardinals almost overslept in their rooms in the Casa Santa Marta, the guest house where they stayed for the duration of a conclave. The Vatican handed complimentary alarm clocks to each one to make sure they would wake up and get to the Sistine Chapel on time. Some cardinals also complained about the lack of a bathroom in the chapel, which meant they had to be escorted to an external restroom by a junior deacon. It's like going back to kindergarten, one told the authors. As the election drew closer, the Frontrunners fell away. In the run-up to the conclave following Francis' death, 2 cardinals were talked of as frontrunner. Parolin, the Vatican's chief diplomat, and Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, leader of the Vatican's evangelization office. Parolin was being pushed as a moderate, diplomatic figure who could restore order after the turbulent years of Francis, Piqué and O'Connell report, but they lacked grassroots experience in Catholic communities. While Parolin worked closely with Francis, one of his supporters, Cardinal Beniamino Stella, stunned fellow cardinals with a speech at a meeting where he attacked a major Francis reform. The author reported on the speech in the run-up to the conclave, and this, they say, had a negative effect on Parolin's candidacy, I don't know how to pronounce. Sometimes top and that time is pronounced some word. Probably I'm getting older. And this was compounded by a poor performance at a mass with larger numbers of young people, where Parolin was described as lacking charisma and as having no connection with the youthful congregation. Tagle, while charismatic and from the Philippines, with one of the largest Catholic population in the world, was considered not to be a strong enough administrator, the book says. He also suffered harsh social media attack which damaged his candidacy. Leo, the Dark Horse, who defied the assumption no American Pope. The author claims that more than 20 cardinals had quietly identified Cardinal Prevost as the most qualified candidate to be Pope. They were impressed by his humble, low-profile style and felt he could be the one best placed to continue Francis' legacy. They write. His missionary experience in Peru and international experience more broadly was crucial. Previously, because of the United States' global political and economic power, it was widely accepted the cardinals would not choose an American pope, but Prevost was seen as the least American of the Americans, as the cardinals from Latin America, Piqué reports, felt that although a gringo, he is one of us. Pope Francis ensured Leo was a candidate. Francis quietly promoted the man who could become his successor and ensured he was a contender. Clearly, Pope Francis had his sight set on him. Piqué writes, it was the late Pope, the first from Latin America, who laid the ground for Prevost to become a candidate by first appointing him a bishop in Chiclayo, Peru, and then bringing him to Rome to run one of the most important Vatican departments responsible for appointing bishops. In this high-ranking role, Leo worked closely with cardinals from across the world, and it was a sign of the trust Francis had placed in him. The pair had a regular one-to-one meeting, during which Piqué says surely the two men discuss church leadership issues beyond the immediate topic at hand, upcoming bishop appointments, while keen-eyed observers noted that Prevost accompanied Francis on his last two trips abroad. Despite being an ancient election process, steeped in ritual and tradition, and still communicating in its result through smoke signal, the conclave was able decisively and swiftly to produce a result, O'Connell and Piqué show. It also retains the ability to surprise. So the election of Pope Leo was a surprise, but I have to say it was a beautiful surprise. I love this Pope so much. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope it was interesting. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.